there are dozens of iconic Xenos.
I'm gonna call him Sexy Voice Man. Let's go! Let's go! Walt Diamonds. Hi, Aragorn. Kind of face and arm and nasty little buggers. Oh, I already don't like them. What the heck is Processional of the Damned? Absolutely disgusting. Not gonna lie. I would not want to see that in a Dark Souls game. Hello? No. No, no, no. There's a squirrel. That escalated fast.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Chat would have been like, where clip? And I'd have been like, damn it. Should have been here live to see the funniness that just happened. Absolutely. We'll never see it. Wow. And do not, I swear to God, put a little clip right here that's like a link to the short that is a clip of it that just happened. I'll stab you. A 40k react? Sure, why not? We can do that. In Warhammer 40k, man's voice is like silk. I'm gonna like listen to this guy. Man's voice is silk, I swear. Double Baka? Double Baka? I don't know. Why is there 2 Baka? What the heckles is 10? Valley, what?
Has gifted 20 subs to viewers.
Why is there 2 of me? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Wait.
Instead of Baka, today we had Bofa.
Both of these nuts? I don't know. That's interesting. I beat you to it! I beat you to it! Good gosh, I'm happy I wasn't recording that. That would have been a clip. They'll never know. Ever. Anyways, we're gonna listen to the... What's this YouTube channel called? Astartes Anonymous, but I'm gonna call him Sexy Voice Man.
40k, there are dozens of iconic Xenos, most of which are represented as factions on the setting's main stage. The Orcs, Eldar.
Am I wrong? Love you, Valley. No, I'm not short. I don't even know what to say anymore. You just broke me today, Valley. You succeeded. You win today. You win again. Gosh damn it, you won't win tomorrow, I swear. You better be taking care of yourself, I swear. You win. God damn it. Okay.
Necrons, Tyranids, Tau, and the Leagues of Votan. And if you dig only a little bit...
Was that a dwarf?
Deeper, there's even bounties of sub-factions to these factions. Drakari, Inari, Harlequins, Genes...
Do they have a race that has Dr. Pepper? Inspiring minds would like to know.
Sealers and Kroot. But
Inspiring minds!
what we're going to cover today...
Let's go!
It goes far deeper. To look at 6 predominantly unknown Xenos, or at least not known by the masses. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope to have simply been myth. Enslavers are possibly the most dangerous Xenos we're going to talk about today. So dangerous are these aliens that some have theorized that these creatures were one of the main factions for the Age of Strife.
Alright, I'm gonna say it. Man looks like a testicle. Alright, there I said it. Clip it and ship it, boys. Alright, we continue.
The collapse of humanity's first galactic empire. Regardless, enslavers are... The collapse of
Aragorn!
humanity's first galactic empire. Regardless, enslavers are terrifying.
Are they just the octopus dudes from Dead by Daylight? I mean, not Dead by Daylight. I don't know where that came from. From Dungeons and Dragons? I know where it came from. It's the D&D kind of thing. Like Dead by Daylight. D&D. Yeah, that's where it came. Okay.
Creatures. We hesitate to call them aliens as they're born of the warp. And yet, they aren't demons. They may be native inhabitants of the Immaterium, a thing that was never meant to even be conceived by us, but one that was awoken when the Sea of Souls was engulfed by chaos. It's very similar to
Warp diamonds. Nasty little buggers. Cheap viewers!
How the Imperium first understood
don't
demons.
say.
In the opening days of the Horus Heresy, aliens from another dimension.
You can't call my viewers cheap. I call my viewers cheap. Not that I get to, because... Hi, Boca. Hi, Stealth.
Enslavers usually enter
Hi, me.
our reality by latching onto the mind
Oh, he has pretty eyes.
of a psyker and using it to rip a hole through the universe. The psyker's mind and body are twisted into a portal through which the enslavers swarm.
Let's
Most
go!
common is enslavers inhabiting space hulks. As the great amalgamations of lost ships drift in and out of the warp, enslavers slink inside, piggybacking onto the hulks into our reality. Whole worlds have fallen to the enslavers, their populations becoming drunk, stumbling, and muttering. This is a gradual process. Enslavers have a limited range with their mind control powers, meaning they can only slowly overtake a population. Yet once you're under their power, you're bound to them forever. We even have a description from a survivor of what it feels like to have their mind possessed by an enslaver. They likened it to a pale, bright, yet dim light filling their body, their mind agonized as though engulfed in fire. The goals of the enslavers, much like the beings themselves, are incomprehensible. We have no idea why they continue to invade our galaxy. They appear to feed.
Like, sometimes they don't need a goal. Maybe you're just, like, considered prey. Like, because, you know, humanity was always meant to be a rung on the ladder.
Feed on people, unmaking them, seeming to do so by breaking up.
We just kind of slowly involved intelligence.
Past their very essence. Whatever.
I say we because dragons did too. And screw you.
Their reasons, the Imperium needs to uncover them, as enslaver plagues can be devastating. An enslaver plague is when multiple worlds in a sector begin to have enslavers emerge upon them. Needless to say, this can be utterly devastating for the Imperium. Multiple worlds can silently fall, their populations unraveling and leaving no trace of what's happened. It's worth noting that we know that the enslavers are not aligned with chaos. During the Arcs of Omen, as Abaddon and Vashtor sought out the key fragments for their profane device, one of their space hulks was attacked by enslavers. We know the enslavers didn't win the conflict, but they did heavily damage the Ark. Why they attacked is unknown. Most likely the key fragment being looked for was on a world the enslavers were feeding on. Regardless,
I think it's literally just that they're basically the universe's answer to humanity. Since there's like no other life form, basically, it's they're your predator.
Enslavers are one of the most insidious threats the Imperium, nay, the galaxy faces. Just pray one does not attach itself to your mind. Found primarily in the Cronus.
Rack Goal? That's a kind of a crazy name. Let me look at these names. What the heck is Processional of the Damned? Hello? Oh, look at this. Rain, Grace, and False Hope all together. How, why is that place called Corpse Fortune? Hello? Septagonic Voids? I don't want to go there. That's gotta be filled with poop. Rang dang. Rang dang dang dang. I'm surprised I didn't get any laughs at the Septagonic Voids being filled with poop. Am I right? Are they actually filled with poop? DeLorean! Pathfix all mentioned. So it's like Bastion, like, not there anymore or something? Because it's the only one that has literally just an X on it. Is this like a hit list?
Expanse, an area of space just past Imperial borders. The Rack Goal are probably the
40k uses the Australian naming convention. So that place really is filled with poop. Okay.
biggest bunch of alien pirates.
Not gonna lie. I would not want to see that in a Dark Souls game.
In the galaxy. The Rakghoul come in many forms, as they seem to seek out warp and radiation.
Kotar fans in the chat. I'm sure we have a few. It's called Katakchan, huh?
Mutations. That being said, they do have a common form. Standing on average about 2.6 meters tall, their bodies are like giant salamanders, with 8 limbs that can shift around their body at a whim, allowing them to go from a rampaging monstrosity raised up on 4 legs to something far more bestial. Imagine running for your life from this eyeless horror that's just busted into your ship, only to watch its limbs slide about its own body as it drops onto all 8 limbs and clambers after you, like No Face from Spirited Away.
No Face is a cutie. Leave him alone.
No better word suits these nightmares than terrifying. They hack off their limbs to replace them with giant blades and weapons. Their whole purpose in this galaxy seems to be to raid and pillage. They are truly monstrous, yet they do have a culture of sorts. Sadly though, this lore is deeply obscured to us by the Imperium's own biases. The Mechanicus biologist has determined that the Rakghoul have no culture and aren't able to even form simplistic tribal groups. Yet at the same time, the Mechanicus acknowledges they have a caste system. So peeling back the Imperium's arrogance for a moment, Rakghoul culture seems to be based on augmentation and hunting ability. Rakghoul are pack hunters. Their pack is essentially their whole ship. The lowest rank in the pack are those
Wait, so are Rakghoul like also space marines somehow or something?
who haven't ever been in battle. After being trained, these Rakghoul, known as Unblooded, will be taken into battle under the supervision of what is known as a Clutch Master. Those who survived are now blooded and become known as Marauders. Clutch Masters are lieutenants of the Rakghoul.
Genetic freaks?
Often the leaders of smaller ships and squads of marauders. Above them are the Broodmasters, easily identifiable by their masses of augmentations. And finally, at the peak of the Rakghoul society, we have the Abominations. Monstrously large Rakghoul bristling with augmentations and decorations. These are the captains of capital Rakghoul ships and the leaders of entire packs. Outside of this regular hierarchy are the Techno-Shamans, Rakghoul Psychers, obsessed with hunting down technology of the Uvath, who we will discuss shortly. As you can probably tell, the Rakghoul are fearsome and brutal raiders, who employ simple but extremely brutal weapons, favoring irradiated blades, rapid-firing flechette guns, and handheld atomic cannons. Along with this, they trade with other powerful
Tuoka? Breed.
Xenos like the Zygo. The Zygo are a race of Xenos we know practically nothing about, except that they've held off the Imperium's assaults for over 500 years. So as you can imagine, the Rakghoul working with them is bad news for the Imperium. Frankly, it seems the Mechanicus and the Imperium at large are deliberately ignorant of the Rakghoul threat. Rogue traders and the Ordo Xenos do their best, but these Xeno are simply too tough to be taken out by what little forces defend the outskirts of the Imperium. This combined with the Rakghoul's strange powers to avoid detection and any form of prescience, such as the Emperor's Tarot, makes their raiding ships practically impossible to track down. Okay, tinfoil hat time, people. It is strongly suggested that the Rakghoul are a biomechanical lifeform created by the Uvath. The Uvath were a warp-worshipping Xenos race who were wiped out in M39 by a random Imperial crusade. They were renowned for their biomechanical constructs. The Rakghoul seem to be the last weapon created by these Xenos to forever plague the Imperium of man. Yet they seem incomplete. With their techno-shamans' focus on finding lost Uvath technology, we posit that they are missing something. One last piece to unlock their true destructive potential. Regardless of whether this theory is true or not, those who have survived the absolute horror of a Rakghoul raid know that should these aliens ever find what they're looking for, know that a new age of strife may engulf the galaxy with the Rakghoul at its helm.
It's only a mother could love.
If you've ever watched the anime Parasite the Maxime, then this friendly little creature is gonna look
I see it was this one's time of the month.
pretty familiar. The Bruhl Parasite has to be hands down one of the worst Xenos ever discovered by the Imperium of Man. These abominations prey
Parasite!
exclusively on sentient creatures creatures. Usually entering through their eyes, nose, or mouth, they
Let's
burrow into the
go!
cranium of their host, wrapping their spiked tentacles tightly around the victim's brain, where they then begin to feed directly on
Did he just say Maxin? Did he?
the host's nutrients and memories. Yes, their memories, which the parasite has full access to. Not only that, but this parasite can fully control the host's body. Effectively, these parasites become their host, controlling them like puppeteers, with jerky movements and causing their victims to have sunken eyes and lips. What is possibly the most disturbing fact about the Brawl parasites is what they do after they've secured a host. If the host is a non-sentient, they will simply use the beast to get to a center of civilization. Once they've secured a sentient host, they'll start to build a close family group to avoid detection. Have a think for a moment about what this really means. Brawl parasites take over entire families. They take over entire communities. Streets of once close neighbors jerkily stepping around, their bodies emancipating as the Brawl parasites gorge themselves on their minds. The worst part is that the hosts are still alive in there. Imagine watching from behind your eyes as something else controls your movements and infests your loved ones with the same curse. And in case you were wondering, yes, a Brawl parasite can infest and take over a space marine.
Well, that's dangerous.
Our next alien is best introduced to you by a story. The Imperium had been hunting a space hulk known as the Charnel Spectre. Upon tracking it down, Inquisitor Malice Dice, a Deathwatch kill team, and Malice's personal warband boarded, searching for lost inquisitorial relics. Slowly, they realized things were hunting them. Glimpses of clawed monsters in the dark. The Ordo Xenos warriors immediately assumed they were being stalked by gene stealers, till suddenly one of their acolytes went mad and gunned down 2 others before the Deathwatch finished off the traitor. Then the Xenos beasts came, all of them a whirl of teeth and claws. This continued on for a while, the Ordo Xenos forces venturing deeper and deeper. More acolytes turn mad, and Astartes fall to waves of Xenos creatures. Inquisitor Malice ventures a theory. Lacrimoles, creatures from Imperial myth, shapeshifters long thought to be extinct. The theory only spread paranoia in the group. Infighting starts to break out, and by the end there's only 3 Deathwatch Astartes and the Inquisitor left. The Astartes don't believe the Inquisitor is still human. They think he's one of the aliens. In fact, Malice is only saved from the Astartes by a wave of aliens attacking them, slipping away in the ensuing firefight. Malice eventually becoming the only survivor of the expedition. Back in the Imperium, his claims of the Lacrimoles saw him laughed out of the Inquisition. He spent his days gibbering to himself about claw monsters
That's terrifying.
in the dark before finally dying a broken shell. Yet, the Deathwatch has a theory, put forward by librarian Codicia Tylon, that of hidden empires. Creatures like the Lacrimole who disappear from Imperial records only to reappear. How do we know that whole worlds haven't fallen to these Xenos? What lurks on the edge of space? In unknown dark, gnawing at the edge of our galaxy.
Why does man have tentacles for tits?
How do we know that the person next
Just
to
me?
us isn't a
Okay.
Lacrimole? This is, of course, a silly idea. Clearly an overly paranoid Deathwatch librarian, staring too long into the inky blackness of space. We all know there are no Lacrimoles in the Imperium. Or do we? The Slort. Also...
You mean the bush people? I'm like, what kind of face and arm and... Hello?
known as the Maggot Men, Dream Eaters,
Oh, I already don't like them.
or Carrion Lords are some of the most disgusting aliens in the galaxy. They're essentially
Absolutely
a writhing
disgusting.
mass of sentient, maggot-like creatures who form a sort of hive mind. One of these worms alone
No, thank you.
is not sentient, but get enough of them together and you have a slort. The more maggots that comprise a slort, the larger it is. Some of these worm monstrosities reaching as tall as 3 meters high. If a 30-meter tall pile of maggots in the shape of a man wasn't terrifying enough for you, let's talk about Slort's technology. The Slort might even be the single most advanced species in the galaxy, though their technology is unnatural to say the least. All of it emits an eerily false light. The energies unleashed by these weapons can render even the greatest war machines to dust. Their armor, appearing as nothing more than simple rags, can deflect even the strongest projectiles and render the wearer completely invisible in the blink of an eye.
Hello?
Though vilest of Slort creations is the Vassal Warrior construct, a writhing mass of fungal flesh, bone, claws, and metal. Wielding the destructive weapons of the Slort, these creatures march to the will of their masters, seeming to radiate an aura of disgust and horror to humans. These pillars of flesh are capped by a myriad of swirling hooked tendrils, and a gaping garbage disposal like maw. Perhaps the most terrifying aspect of these constructs is their ability to irradiate the necrotic energies of the Slort, allowing them to disintegrate hordes of men. Look, we cannot get across how terrifying these things are. The warrior constructs are not the only constructs available to the Slort, as they may make a large variety to act as laborers and spies. The Imperium and the Slort have only ever had one open conflict, and we know very little about it, save that it was between the Storm Wardens chapter and the Slort, and that the Storm Wardens, one of the most stoic chapters to have ever been created, were utterly harrowed by the experience. And if you're wondering why the Slort skulk in the dark, the answer is very simple. They're not yet ready for war. They grow more constructs, they multiply in numbers, all in the shadow of the Empire of Man. The Maggot Men are waiting, and they're growing strong. Only really the Death Watch and the Ordo Xenos stand against this threat, and when the time comes for open war, the Imperium will be subject to horrors beyond mortal comprehension.
No. No. No, thank you.
And finally, Terra Squirrels are for all intents and purposes flying squirrels. They're small, fur-covered rodents that glide from
There's a squirrel race?
tree to tree to tree on flaps of skin. Cute, right? Well, congratulations, because you've just had your throat ripped out and half of your ribcage devoured. The Terra Squirrels are killer flying squirrels, with
Alrighty then. That escalated fast. Yeah. Alrighty.
powerful, tiny limbs and giant fangs. They're premier ambush predators who effectively pretend to be prey till they get the opportunity to strike. It's worth noting, though, that apparently these Xenos are quite delicious when cooked with a pinch of salt. And of course, these little buggers are actually a reference to the deadly rabbit from Monty Python.
That was a brave warrior right there.
Jesus Christ! I warned you.
I warned
Well, that's it for
you.
now. Do let us know in the comments which of these
He
Xenos you
warned
think
you.
would honestly be the greatest threat to the Imperium if they were to acquire the power they seek out so covetously. Perhaps the only reason they haven't reached said power is because they're getting in each other's way.
Isn't it basically that the orcs are half the reason half these people don't, like, take over the rest of the world? Because they're always fighting all of the races?
In the Great Crusade,
The orcs are basically, you're having too much peace, the race.
humanity went door to door, annihilating most of the galaxy's myriad of Xenos. So it's worth remembering that above all else, these Xenos are survivors. See you next time.
I like his voice. It's pretty.
Behind every paragraph and reference in these videos, there's a mountain of research, editing, and more than a few burnt-out cogitators.
I can understand there being a lot of research in this. But also, man must have nightmares.
That's where our patrons come in, with multiple tiers offering a variety of things, from exclusive chats in our Discord to personalized artwork created for our individual patrons. Every subscription keeps the machine spirit of the Astartes Anonymous
And then the orcs slowly, like, wither them down to the point where they're back to being wherever they were.
this YouTube channel appeased. And for our top tier patrons, a display on the wall of honor at the end of each podcast. So if you're enjoying the content, please do consider taking a quick look at our Patreon. Thanks so much for watching.
Patreon. Sexy Boy Sky.
Warhammer 40k.
Alright, that was Sexy Boy Sky, part 1.